1 million Chase Ultimate Rewards points. That's enough for 33 nights at the Grand Hyatt in Kauai, worth over $26,000, or $10,000 as straight cash back, which is my preferred redemption because I can put that in my retirement account and make over $211,000 when compounded over 32 years for my retirement when I'm ready to live on the beach full time. But before I get into the strategy to stack that many points, if you're new here or you're tuning back in, hello there. This is Nathaniel with the Fat Stacks Academy, where it's our goal to help every American worker make an extra $5,000 to $15,000 per year through financial optimization and the best bank account and credit card bonuses. So if you're ever making some fat stacks, hit that like button and let's get stacking. I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. The information in this video is intended for educational and informational purposes only. Many of the links in the description contain affiliates that can make me some money. So if you're considering applying for any of the bank accounts or credit card products listed in this or any of my other videos, I want you to keep two things in mind. The first is to do your own research and make sure you're getting the highest offer possible and that it fits your financial goals. I do try my best to find the best offer available and put it in the description whether or not it is my link, but it's always good to do your own research. The second thing I want you to do is to think of the children, specifically my child, because whenever you do use my links, it does support me and my family and helps me continue making videos. With all that out of the way, let's get stacking. So there are four main ways to earn Chase Ultimate Rewards points. The first is sign-up bonuses on their credit cards. Whenever you first get a new card and you haven't had one before, Chase entices us to sign up for it with a very lucrative spending bonus on all of their Ultimate Rewards cards. This is where we'll be getting most of the points in this giant stack of 1 million points. The second way you can earn Chase Ultimate Rewards points is through referral bonuses. So whenever you refer one of your friends or your player two who's doing this strategy with you, you can get some extra points on your account while they get the sign-up bonus on their account. This is actually going to be the second biggest way you can earn points, and I'm going to go over how to do this with a two-player strategy in this video. The third way is your base spend on the card itself. So depending on the category, you'll get 1x to 5x on your spending with these cards. So technically, if you're a millionaire or Dave Portnoy, to get 1 million Chase points, all you need to do is spend $1 million on your card and then you'll get 10,000 points. For the rest of us mortals though, we're going to be relying on some of the other strategies, and the spending is only a small percentage of how we get to 1 million points. The fourth one I'd like to mention is the Chase Ultimate Rewards shopping portal. So whenever you're buying things online that's not on Amazon, a lot of times, whether it's Lowe's, Home Depot, or a lot of other retailers, they will kick back some Ultimate Rewards to Chase for shopping through their portal with your card. I've seen sometimes as high as 20 extra Ultimate Rewards points per dollar spent depending on the vendor. So if you do have some big purchases or are shopping for anything online, it's worth checking this portal. I'll leave a link to it in the description to make some extra points. But by far the fastest and most profitable way to make as many Chase Ultimate Rewards points as possible is through their business cards and using a two-player strategy. So for me, I do this with my wife and I. And if we wanted to, we could probably make about this many points every 2 years or so. We refer each other back and forth between all of Chase's card products to get the extra referral bonuses on top of the sign-up bonuses like we just mentioned. And if you're watching this video and you think you don't have a player two, that's just not true. I can be your player two. I won't share my points with you or travel with you, but you can know that I will smile on the inside if you use my links. But in all seriousness, to be as profitable as possible, you do want to get a player two to play this game with you, whether it's just a friend, your spouse, or a coworker you have a professional relationship with. The most lucrative cards we're going to start with are actually Chase's business cards. To get to 1 million points fast, I don't really see any other way around it if you don't have high spend. Luckily, so many people are actually eligible for business cards, whether or not they realize it. In America today, there's so many opportunities to earn money that a lot of people are doing as it is as a sole proprietor. Whether you drive Uber, Lyft, or Uber Eats, DoorDash, any type of 1099 income, that's technically a business because you are a subcontractor and you're getting 1099 income, and that qualifies as a business because you are a sole proprietor with your social security number and you are using your car and other assets to make money that you are not getting employment or W-2 income from. Also, if you buy or sell things on Facebook Marketplace or eBay, whether it's just a garage sale or something else, you are actually buying and selling goods and making some money. So be honest on your application with how much money you plan to or can make or do make, but a lot of people do qualify for these business credit cards just using their name and their social security number as a sole proprietorship. I've gotten just about every ink cards more than once just as a sole proprietor, and my wife has gotten many of them, and we're still using this strategy just as sole proprietors. I have a link in the description of a mock application I did on one of my first videos, so if you need some help and have a high cringe tolerance for my poor editing at the time, click on that to learn more, and I'll also leave it in the description. So for all the cards we're talking about here, there's one very important rule with Chase, which is their 524 rule, which states that you can't have had 5 or more personal credit cards in the last 24 months hit your credit report. So before you start this strategy, I'd recommend getting under 524 and at least 424. But let's say you are at 424 right now. What I would recommend starting with are their business cards, because you can get approved at 424 and those new business cards will not count towards your 524 status because they do not report to your personal credit report as business cards. So we'll be starting with the business cards to get to 1,000,000 points because they are the most lucrative bonuses and they're the easiest to get even if you're close to that 524 mark, and we'll get into the personal ones a little bit later. So for Chase's business cards, they're all in the Ink lineup, and there are 3 of them we're going to be talking about in this video. They are the Chase Ink Unlimited, the Chase Ink Cash, and the Chase Ink Preferred. All of these cards allow you to cash back your Ultimate Rewards points at least 1 cent per point and transfer them over to transfer partners or earn an elevated bonus through their travel portal. However, there is one other 4th ink card, the Chase Ink Premier, that still is pretty lucrative, but it does not allow you to transfer those points between other cards and get that elevated value. For that reason, I'm actually going to leave that card out of here because those aren't real Ultimate Rewards points. They're pretty much just cash. Historically, the Chase Ink cards have language that limit you to getting a new sign-up bonus on each of their cards every 24 months. But I just checked the terms and that technically isn't there anymore. But for me, I try to not go crazy with this velocity because it is such a profitable way to earn points that I don't want to go above that threshold. So with a 2-player strategy, you can easily get a new Chase Ink card every 3 to 6 months without having to worry about it too much. There are lots of data points of people exceeding that though, and some people getting as many as 3 or 4 within a few months. But for my risk tolerance, I don't like getting more than 1 every 3 months. To get the most points possible with the ink cards, you want to apply for them when they have an elevated sign-up bonus. Their standard offer is still really good, and if you don't have another option, it's still one of the best cards to get. But there are very often elevated offers on all of their ink cards. So in this video, I'm going to be going through, I think, about 13 cards to get to 1,000,000 points. You can actually move these around for what makes sense to you within these rules, and always prefer getting those elevated offers to get to your 1,000,000 points as quickly as possible. To hit those minimum spend requirements for those bonuses, I usually add my player 2, my wife, to the card to help meet those spend requirements if she's buying something that's relevant for the spending bonus. And with her as an authorized user, that does not disqualify her from getting her own version of the same card with the sign-up bonus. Another quick note, whenever you apply and you aren't instantly approved, remember to call the reconsideration line as quickly as possible. Sometimes there's just a really easy detail to clear up with a customer service representative. And I've personally never been rejected for an ink card, but have been sent to reconciliation a few times. I'll leave that phone number in the description below. All right, so finally, let's get stacking, starting with our first credit card we'll be applying for, which is the Chase Ink Unlimited. As of the recording this video, there is an elevated sign-up offer of 90,000 Ultimate Rewards points when you spend $6,000 in the first 3 months of card membership. That's an extra $150 or 15,000 Ultimate Rewards points. The Chase Ink Unlimited also has a base floor of 1.5x for every dollar spent. So for that $6,000 we'll be spending to get that 90,000 sign-up bonus, you'll be getting an extra 9,000 Ultimate Rewards points. There's 0 annual fee on this card. So with our spending and the sign-up bonuses, we'll be getting our first 99,000 Ultimate Rewards points just with one credit card. All right, and the second card we'll be going for will be with our player 2, because now that we have our first ink card, that I can get a referral bonus for referring my player 2, while she gets the sign-up bonus. So the card we'll be applying for in this example is the Chase Ink Cash, which is a 75,000 Ultimate Rewards points bonus when she spends $6,000 on the card within the first 6 months. I'll be getting an extra 20,000 Ultimate Reward points for referring her, and at 1x back per dollar spent, she'll be getting another 6,000 Ultimate Rewards points. So for the second card, we'll be getting an extra 101,000, bringing our total to 200,000 Ultimate Rewards points with our first 2 card applications. And the third card we'll be going for, since in this example I don't have the Chase Ink Cash card yet, I will be doing the exact same thing as player 2 and getting that same 101,000 Ultimate Rewards points using her referral link to give her those 20,000, bring our total together to 301,000 Ultimate Rewards points. And now, since my player 2 has not had the Ink Unlimited yet, she'll be applying for that next with my referral link. Unfortunately, the elevated offer in this example we'll just assume has expired by now, because it's close to anywhere from 6 months to 9 months later. So we're just going to assume we got the standard offer of 75,000 Ultimate Rewards points with that 20,000 referral bonus going to the other player, plus another 9,000 for the spending, adding an additional 104,000 Chase Ultimate Rewards points, bringing the total to 405,000 Ultimate Rewards points. All right, now that we're almost halfway there, let's take a quick break and start getting personal, specifically with Chase's personal cards. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. These videos take me a lot more math than I'm usually comfortable doing. And it's a great way to help the channel grow and help more people take as much money from Chase as possible. So Chase also has a few personal cards that earn Ultimate Rewards points that are going to help us on our journey to 1,000,000 points. Just like business cards, their personal lineup earn sign-up bonuses when you haven't had the card before or that enough time has elapsed between card applications, and we're going to be going for elevated bonuses wherever possible. The personal cards with sign-up bonuses for Ultimate Rewards points from Chase are the Chase Sapphire Preferred, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the Chase Freedom Unlimited, and the Chase Freedom Flex. The most lucrative of these is going to be the Sapphire bonus that you get on either the Chase Sapphire Preferred or the Chase Sapphire Reserve. You can only get this bonus once every 48 months, and you can only have one of those cards at any given time. For the purposes of this video, we're trying to keep our annual fee low, so we'll be going for the Chase Sapphire Preferred because the annual fee is about 4 times less, but there are a lot of really good benefits from the Reserve, and if that one fits your situation better, I'd do a little research on that card. Just a quick note on the Sapphire cards, because it is every 48 months, instead of starting with the business cards, if you're well under 524, it might make sense to start with the Sapphire cards between your player 1 and player 2, because if you plan on churning these again and getting the bonus in the future, this is the longest period of time in between being eligible for the sign-up bonuses because of that 48-month rule. And because of this, I wouldn't sign up for this unless there is an elevated offer on the Sapphire of at least 75,000 Ultimate Rewards points. So fit it in whenever that elevated offer comes. It's usually 2 or 3 times per year. Sometimes they have one up to 100,000 Ultimate Rewards points. The Freedom Flex and Freedom Unlimited have pretty low sign-up bonuses, but sometimes they do have an elevated one, like an extra 5% back on gas and groceries for your first 12 months. So try to work those in where you can to get as good of an offer as possible on both of those cards. And keep in mind the 524 rule especially applies for personal cards, so if you are over 524, wait until you get under that for best odds of approval for these cards. The reason why I started with business is so that gives you a little bit of time to get under that threshold before we start applying for their personal cards. And for this strategy, I personally wouldn't get above 424 out of your 524 slots so that you can keep applying for ink cards until you're through with them or cooling off for a period of time. The other really cool thing that also applies to these personal cards is there are referral bonuses that we're going to incorporate into our strategy to get to 1,000,000 points. And as always, if you don't have a player 2, keep in mind, I can be your player 2. All right, with all that personal information out of the way, let's keep stacking. Okay, so the fifth card we'll be applying for on our journey to 1,000,000 points is the Chase Sapphire Preferred for player 1. We won't be getting this unless there's at least an elevated sign-up bonus of 75,000 ultimate rewards points. And this is generally an offer that happens when you meet $4,000 worth of spending within 3 months of card membership. On $4,000 in spend, that's an additional 4,000 ultimate rewards points, bringing your total to 79,000 ultimate rewards points for this card. There's a $95 annual fee on this card that we'll talk about later, but with over $790 worth of value, it's always worth it in your first year, in my opinion. All right, so our next card is for player 2, card number 6. We're going to be going back and getting the same one, the Chase Sapphire Preferred, ideally at an elevated bonus. You may or may not have this for the 6th one, depending on if there's an elevated one or not, but we're just putting it here just so we make sure we get it out of the way. And the reason you want to do this now is because now that player 1 has gotten it, there's also a 10,000 ultimate reward point referral bonus on the Sapphire cards. So you'll be getting that same 75,000 ultimate rewards points bonus on $4,000 in spend, and your player 1 will be getting that additional 10,000 ultimate rewards points, plus that 4,000 ultimate reward points on spending, bringing the total to 89,000 ultimate rewards points. You do have a $95 annual fee. We'll get to those later. All right, and that brings us to card number 7, back to player 1. We'll be getting the Chase Freedom Unlimited. This is just like the Ink Business Unlimited. It gets 1.5x on everything, but the bonus is much, much smaller, and the spending's much, much smaller. You just have to spend $500 within the first 3 months to get 20,000 ultimate rewards points, and that's the standard bonus. So we'll round up the spending to about 1,000 ultimate rewards points, and that brings us to an additional 21,000 ultimate reward points. So now that player 1 has his freedom card, player 2 will get their freedom card because there is a 5,000 ultimate rewards points referral bonus that you can send to them. For player 2, let's give him the Chase Freedom Flex. It has roughly the same standard bonus, $200 when you spend $500 within the first 3 months. $200 meaning 20,000 ultimate rewards points, plus that $5,000 referral bonus going to your player 1, plus about 1,000 or so on your organic spend with the card, adding an additional 26,000 ultimate reward points. Card number 9, back to player 1, using the referral code from player 2. Now that they have their Chase Freedom card, you will now be getting the Chase Freedom Flex. Same sign-up bonus, 20,000 ultimate rewards points when you spend $500 in the first 3 months, plus the $5,000 referral bonus going to your player 2, plus an additional 1,000 on your organic spend, adding an additional 26,000 ultimate rewards points to the stack. And for our last personal card, this will complete the trifecta for both player 1 and player 2. Player 2 will now get the Chase Freedom Unlimited card, same sign-up bonus, same referral bonus, same spending multiplier, an additional 26,000 ultimate rewards points, bring our total at the end of our personal spending to 672,000 ultimate rewards points. Now that we have all the personal cards, it's time to get back to business as we haven't finished with the ink cards yet. We're going back to player 1 for card number 11 with the most lucrative sign-up bonus we've ever seen with the ink cards that's available right now, the Chase Ink Preferred. Right now, you will get 120,000 ultimate rewards points when you spend $8,000 in the first 3 months. This offer will expire very shortly after, if not by this video. So if you hadn't followed me before, I'm sorry, but this is the type of offer you want to look for when you're getting as many Chase points as possible. And since your player 2 already had an ink card from before, you're going to use his or her referral link to get them an additional 20,000 ultimate rewards points. We'll be getting at least 8,000 ultimate rewards points from our spending, bringing our total for this card to 148,000 ultimate rewards points from one card. This card also has a $95 annual fee. Make sure you do not cancel this card until you've had it for at least a year. And we'll get to how the math works with all the annual fees later. You'll see in the grand scheme of things, it's very negligible, especially in the first year. All right, and card number 12, player 2 will be getting the same card as player 1, the Chase Ink Preferred, but sadly, more than likely that elevated offer is over. So we're just going to assume you get the standard offer, which is 100,000 ultimate rewards points when you spend $8,000 in the first 3 months. With player one's referral bonus and the spending, that brings the total for this bonus to 128,000 ultimate rewards points. And that brings our total points to 948,000 Chase Ultimate Rewards points, and both Player 1 and Player 2 have gotten all of Chase's Ultimate Rewards cards. Unfortunately, that's just shy of 1 million, but before you unsubscribe or downvote for false advertising, hear me out, I'm going to show you how to get to 1 million. By now, Player 1 should be 24 months past their first Ink Unlimited card, or whatever card they got at the beginning, and should be able to apply for it again for that same sign-up bonus. Personally, when I'm getting this close to the end, I probably would have closed that account a few months before, planning to apply for one again for the sign-up bonus. But now that the referral program has started, just because we're starting over, doesn't mean we can't get that referral bonus now. So just for our last card we're going to talk about here, we'll go through that very quickly. For Player 1 getting the Chase Ink Unlimited, we'll just assume it's the standard offer of 75,000 ultimate rewards points when you spend $6,000 in the first 3 months, with the $20,000 referral bonus going to your Player 2 and the $9,000 on 1.5x back on your $6,000 worth of spend, bringing the total for the final card we're talking about to 101,000. And that completes it. We now have 1,049,000 ultimate rewards points. Taken at 1 cent per point for cash back, this is $10,490 and worth a lot more if you're one of those people who like to transfer it out to travel partners or use your Sapphire or Ink cards or your Ink preferred card to get an elevated bonus in the portal. So to recap, between Player 1 and Player 2, with the referral strategy, you'll be getting 1,049,000 ultimate rewards points. If you add up all the spending on all the cards, this takes $56,000 worth of spend. So it might take you 1, 2, maybe 3 years for a lot of people. For my wife and I, we could technically do this every 2 years or so. But to get a fully accurate view, we do have to count the annual fees. Among all those cards, each of us, Player 1 and Player 2, got an annual fee card. So the Chase Sapphire preferred card for Player 1 and Player 2 is $95 each. And then the Ink preferred for Player 1 and Player 2 is also $95 each, bringing a total annual fee of $380 if you only keep that card for the first year. So to simplify the math, let's say we take those points and convert them to cash, $10,490 minus $380 in annual fees, you will be profiting $10,110. So if you divide that amount by $56,000, that's an 18% return on spend. So effectively everything you bought with that $56,000 you got for 18% off, and that could be any spending. This is also likely lower than the points you'll probably get because I did not go over the specific reward multipliers for most of the cards. The Chase Ink Cash has some 5% categories, some 2% categories. The Ink Preferred has some 3% categories, and the Sapphire Preferred has some 3% categories. The Chase Freedom Flex has some 5% categories. Likely you'll be able to optimize that along your journey and get quite a bit more than what I was able to count up here. But everyone's spending is different, and I couldn't make this a very universal video, keeping all of that in mind. So for each of the cards, whenever you apply, check what the spending multipliers are to get more points than what I even mentioned in this video. Also check the beginning of the video for the other ways you can earn ultimate rewards points. If you stacked this referral strategy with doing some of your spending through the shopping portal, for example, when you have some organic spend there, that would get you even more points. As always, only employ this strategy if you have good financial habits, and don't use this as an excuse to buy stuff you otherwise wouldn't. Be very disciplined with this. Banks and credit card companies are out to get you to spend more and spend more on interest and ultimately make more money off of you than you make off of them. So make sure that you are not paying any interest on your credit cards by paying the full statement balance by the due date. Also, don't be applying for these new cards if you're going to be going for an auto loan or a mortgage in the near future. That extra temporary dip to your credit score isn't worth it when you have such a long-term purchase that could lower your credit score and give you a less favorable rate on a much larger piece of debt. Okay, guys, a little bit of a longer one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm sweaty on this one. It took so long to record. Thanks for sitting through it with me. Let me know in the comments if you have any other strategies to get Chase Ultimate Rewards points or a faster way to get to 1,000,000 points. I'd love to hear about it below. And as always, to be reminded of how beautiful you are on each and every upload and learn how to make a new fat stack of cash, hit that subscribe button. So the Chase Inc. business cards have another superpower that I use to make thousands of extra dollars every year. Click on this video to learn about that. Every month, I find the best bank account and credit card bonuses for the month to make as much money as possible in that given window. Click on this playlist over here for those offers.